Like in the old days, faith-based leaders must lead the way to move the trajectory away from greed so as to improve the lives of all South Africans, as opposed to only enriching the lives of a selected few. Faith-based and traditional leaders must avoid being captured by the state. They must act as our nation's voice of conscience. I thank you. I don't know the rules of this lecture, but if you feel engaging me through asking questions, I'm ready.
Thank you very much, General. And I think we're going to take you up on that offer. We're going to give 5-10 minutes for people to ask any questions, reflections on what the General said. We'll also try and take maybe some questions from, we have about 500 people online. Maybe we'll try and get a couple of them in. And before I forget, General, we had left this for you, but it seems you have also forgotten to acknowledge your daughter. We see her there at the back. Can the camera zoom on her?
She belongs to the group which I called Ladies and Gentlemen. So. Okay, good. Any volunteer? Must relax, man. I'm no longer that person, you know. We used to carry guns around here. So I'm a...
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll start it off. My name is Anele. You spoke about the ladies on the street who are running SMMEs. It's the saddest thing to see abamama ba netwayo, abana tafel is right, zindos kegel. I just want to ask, why can't EUDM step in there to help these ladies so that they can run respectable businesses, because they do take their kids to university, but the ANC government, like there's nothing happening to them. Even the ones on R61, but Singuku, everywhere, everyone is selling fruit, etc., but they don't seem to be recognized for them running their dignified businesses. So I think moving into an election space, I think UDM can take up that and help these ladies build some structures or things that they can break down and make up. But we need to bring some dignity into these ladies' professions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you, General. Lutando is my name. You touched on the very critical area of the water, the basic needs here in Mthatha, especially the KSD. And you even made mention of the fact that there is corruption. And fortunately, you were once in the government of the ANC as the UDM. And as a child and a son of the soil, I think that it is high time for you to reconsider coming back home. And I once spoke to you sometime and said, Bantu, kaubuye, General, to run helter-skelter after these guys and build your hegemony, especially in the Eastern Cape. especially in the area of Transkei. You remember that during 94, there was a request by Madiba that some of the officers must be brought to Mthatha. You know, the likes of the Mayatulas and others refused. And they wanted Transkei, you know, with this anti-Matanzima attitude to be destroyed. Even wanted this very unit to be closed, the likes of Kada Asmal.
Thank you, General, and the audience here. Very great to have you here. My name is Hani Lusu. Funny enough, my question speaks to what my previous two speakers have just said. Fortunately for me, I get to interact with the Bantu, Nabanya Bantu of the Transkei, that love the Transkei. Bantu, can you please elaborate in a simplistic way? Lento yoba se votele UTM, party, for example, in the KSD, and then Tambo being the custodian of the funds, or pro-national government, I UTM. I pay the KSD, because I know what Peter Utatu. These are people that we know up in Tat. So that Niferish is a UTM, or whichever political party we vote for. How do you overcome the fact that the party that we vote for example, can be UTM or Action SA, but then a national government who controls the budget will stifle the budget, speak to the amanzi up, which I amanzi controlling KSD. So it's the kettle blaming the pot and the pot blaming the kettle. Can you put down to simplify it for Memeleyo to understand how a failure in your party is orchestrated in a planned way? Sifuna sizawuvalidate when kesibona malento yabo izawuyapi. Ndifuna kuyiqaqise put bantu lento leyo in a simple way for abantu abayibukeleyo lento. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Okay, we're going to have two more questions because the General is going to have only 5 minutes to answer, so we can't give him too many questions.
Thank you. Yes, let me take this opportunity first to say, Diabolela ngubante ndikubone nam Dona General, thank you kakhulu. I wanted to check that because what I'm seeing is happening is that every time a woman goes to power, the first people to attack a woman ayingomadoda ngabantu abangomama to say that hayi uyasipora. I want to check what are you doing on your side as the members of parliament, for instance, coming from this region. If I check Mthatha campus now, let me put it this way, is led by a woman in terms of politics, even in terms of power, your vice chancellor, your mother chancellor, going forward to Jongo Jong. And what are you doing to make sure that in 2 years back, before? What are you doing when, as a person, osuka up, okay, what issue up, really back, kulando before? Because most of problems as first are kwela talo ya griba at by 3,000, but le originate to a Transkei in a student as 400 and something thousand as funa ungena ngaphakathi. What are you doing? What plans do you have to protect the image of this institution and protect the image of a Transkei? If you remember, you once say okay, why part you understand into ejongene nazo in Transkei itself. And I want to check again. Okay, wathetha apha nangumama uwini. Xa ujongile ingaba umsebenzi wayenza ewulwela. Is it given justice now by this current government called the ANC government? Is there any justice given to umsebenzi wakhe? Wena okay wa close kuye. Thank you.
The last question.
Okay, I would love to greet everybody. I would want to go to the part of the patriarchy and also poverty that was mentioned by the speaker. First of all, I want to know whether poverty indicator is only affecting women or is affecting the whole South Africa as a whole. And then let's go to patriarchy, which is stated as a dominance of men over the women with society. I have a challenge when it comes to that one, especially with affirmative action, because I believe that the Constitution of South Africa, which is Bill of Rights, Section 27, subsection 1, which is A, B, and C, said everyone has a right and okumntu une-right uba I-enjoy zonke i-right. But looking at affirmative action, now it's becoming another gender-based violence towards amadoda. Because kwanto ekhona is always based on abantu abatheni abangomama. Ukuba kukhona imali ekhona that is a funding, it's always based on omama. So ndifuna ukwazi ukubana le poverty is only hitting omama okanye South Africa iphela na. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. Tatu Mgebe Masibulisi.
Of course.
Ilula nje eyam that in an institution of higher learning like ours, which is led by a female, what strategies can you perhaps give to our leaders in trying to prevent themselves against attacks? I'm saying this Kenjengele because in the past year, we've seen a number of attacks against our Vice Chancellor. Members of the IMC, Injengele spoke very well about the importance of hawkers. But here at home, if you are hungry during lunch hour, the only type of meal that you can get, it is now the fried chips and quarter legs. Yet before COVID-19, we used to have all auntie Apa who were selling e-fruits and all that. Today you are sitting here without hawkers. What is your take on that matter? Thank you.
Okay. I think I can attempt to,
No, thank you, General. I think we will have to, okay, I think, can I have my position back as the MC? Okay, I see all the hands, I acknowledge them. I'm going to think about it as General is responding to the first batch of questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try and be brief. First question, the SMMEs. I think we must accept that as a result of the freedom we gained in 1994, a lot of people moved away from the rural areas and came to the cities. Unfortunately, the municipalities seem not to have been ready to provide shelters for these people who are doing business in those areas. I remember during the old days, we used to have small areas like transidos and so on, and people were helped. But what we need to do now is to try and rezone, especially Umtata. I mean, if you walk now in the streets, you hardly have a space to walk. So that needs a discussion, and also in rezoning those areas. Then we will agree on what kind of shelter. And over and above that is the training. You see, when you see these, our friends from outside the country, a South African will come with, a person from outside the country will come early around 5 a.m. And they set their little stalls there and lay out fruit, whatever, shoes, whatever is he or she is selling. Then a South African will come around 11 a.m. or 10 o'clock carrying a card box and say, who put this in my place? This is not, and this, even these oranges of his or hers needs to have been washed. These guys will have water to clean. So that the training, therefore, is going to be needed, notwithstanding, not to mention the fact that there has to be some kind of fund to help these people, like the government of Matanzima did to help the small businesses. Walter Sisulu, the way I see it, as I was walking through here, I could see that the maintenance has been improved. I even remarked when I saw the gardens, I said, oh, there are flowers and the grass is cut. So we can only just encourage you. But in terms of Walter Sisulu coming back to its former glory is going to be a process. And if you are not getting adequate funding from the state, at the time I was still in charge here, we used to also arrange with the mining houses to fund this university. Some of the classes here under Matanzima government were built by those mining houses. I wonder if that program is still taking place. Unfortunately, you don't seem to be a priority when it comes to the higher education in Pretoria, especially the SITAs. SITAs could play a meaningful role in this area because they are sitting, controlling billions of rands. But as you know, those SITAs is a paradise for a certain political party. I'm not going to bore you about that. KSD, OR Tambo, how do you avoid is politics. If you are weak, your structures are weak, there's nothing you can do. Because if the KSD or the OR Tambo is suffocating other political parties, you should give them the medicine they know, and that you march to their area or block streets. What do they call it? Shut down or something like that. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, at the time, it was fashionable to squeeze or close down those small parties like UTM were running municipality. Remember, it was during the era of floor crossing. But as after that, I have not seen that in other regions. There are other small parties which have formed coalitions who are running municipalities. And district municipalities are not squeezing those political parties. So I don't think the UTM would do that again to the UTM. Remember that the climate was not conducive when the UTM was established. For me to have said or showed them the middle finger with those celebrities who were around, it was not easy. So they wanted to show me something, but they failed dismally. I'm still around. And then the women attacking women. I'm not well I'm not well informed on this, but I've noticed that even from the ruling party's point of view, a woman who wants to be a president, for instance, you don't see women supporting that particular woman. So there are issues which still need to be worked out. But on this one, if it was intended to undermine the leadership which was elected to run this institution, I don't think it would be wise to pursue that, because these women who have been put in places, they have academic qualification, they have excelled in the field where they were recruited. But I'm not going to get involved into the politics of who, so I don't have details. As far as Winnie Mandela, yes, the view, when I referred to the original agenda, that the original agenda, the comrades have put it aside, they have actually betrayed the struggle. Today, we're not talking about cutting ribbons. We're opening a new road, a new bridge. But what we are reading is about the misuse of state resources. Unfortunately, the ruling party, according to Zondo Commission, has helped them. Take, for instance, the issue of electricity in this country. Medupi and Kusile, the government took a decision to develop those two plants in order to increase the supply of electricity. Guess what? The parliament approved those billions. But when the Hitachi company was appointed and oversee the implementation of those projects, Then came the ruling party's investment arm called Chancellor House. Then we began to ask questions. Did they go to tenders? The answer was a big no. But they ran away from there with billions of rands. Now we are being asked to settle the debt of ESCOM, which was caused by the people who were voted in this country to run the country. So, xa umuntu uthe makagade isithi angakwazi usigada atye kwalapha esitheni umthini. So, it's bad. So they betrayed people like Winnie Mandela. Patriarchy, yes, Mhlekazi. In terms of the constitution, you are correct. We are all equal. But what I've noticed is that sometimes sisithetha phezu kwabantu bethu abasivoteleyo. Labo mama bapha ezilalini behleli nabantwana babo, nabotata babo, babaphethe kakubi abanye babo. So, azazi into constitution eziyana zange ziyiride noyiride. So, ipatriarchy ke ngoku funeka uyazi uyicascade to at least to that level. Akho ne-police van A1, 350,000 population yabantu kulowo ringi iservice ngevan A1 yamapolisa. Noba sowufonile kuthiwa hayi isaleqe kwendawo ethile. So we need to make sure that siyathetha nenkosi. Zinkosi eziphethe ezilali. That's why I was referring to masisibonise inkosi kwakunye namasiko wazo ba hey ayikho semthethweni lento yokubetha abafazi. Iqala phanto zakuthi. Uba bekwenzeke ntoni okanye umbone encume nabani kwaze kwathini but ufuneka uyommangalela uyafuna. Ungambethi itsho constitution. Affirmative action discriminate against men. Yes. I've taken note of that. And unfortunately, the government of the day is implementing policies where it sees ukuthi abona abantu bebenikwa jobs ngaphambili nabebe occupy high positions kodwa bodwa nangoku bungaya kwi-CEOs of the various big companies, very few women are empowered or are promoted to those positions. So affirmative action is not that it's against otata, but kukhona igap enkulu ekufuneka ivaliwe into zakuthi masiyinyamezele. But ke kwindaba yokuthi i-privileges ezivelayo, both men and women, that's why when I was closing my address, I referred to a need for us that women and men must work together, and in particular youth, because ngabo abantu abazawurana this country. That time we will not be pointing at fingers which were caused by apartheid, but it will be pointed at us. Njengabantu besilalula uhulumende. Attack Vice Chancellor, I think they attended Lendo earlier on, but it is not common. Hopefully, Ngugai Toby and others, the council, will review this sudden attack on the Vice Chancellor and come up with a solution. But since they are controlling you, they are leading you in this campus, I hope the students would also be involved in making sure that there's stability in this campus or university. Hawks, i-hawkers, ebezisiza apha, zisipha amagwinya, zisipha ntoni, zifraya, zisenza yonke into, azivunyelwa. I think Vice Chancellor ukhona, ne-council bayakuva ne-election, ne-leadership, eyalapha ekhaya le into. Mabayisolve because abamama, indeed, la mali bathengisa ngayo bafundisa abantwana babo. Do we have a last round? Or you call it a night? Okay.
No last round, but
How?
we have one question that we got from the people online.
Okay.
And I think you might want to answer this. Dear General, you have commented about the 2024 elections in our country. What are your predictions on their outcome?
Unfortunately, I'm not a Sangoma. And, but on a serious note, I think for the first time, if you look at the surveys, they are telling us that the people of South Africa are not happy with the performance of the ruling party. So we expect, therefore, that we might have coalitions for the first time at national and provincial level. It would depend on the work done by other political parties. But if you look at the combination of opposition parties in this country, the role we have played, really we fought. You wouldn't have had a Zondo commission today. You wouldn't be talking about it. It was us as opposition parties which worked together and went and made it a point that Thuli Madonsela's findings on state capture, they are investigated as she recommended. You remember Ngwamalala was saying there's no need, no judge can appoint a judge and so on, he is the president. But we said, sir, you are affected. So conflict of interest, you cannot. Also, if you look at the issue of secret ballot, it was the opposition, in particular UDM, which led that campaign, as well as the removal of the chairperson of the IEC. That was a project of UDM. We managed to remove her. So it's not about numbers at times. It's quality that counts. But next year, I'm optimistic that the slush funds which were used in the past through Bosasa to fund the ruling party, also in Ngoba Rally, their national congresses. That's why they are struggling now to even pay their salaries. The tap is dry, we've closed it completely. So we are sort of going to level the playing field. So I hope you guys, the youth, you will vote next year fully knowing that you are trying to lay a foundation where no one-party dominance in this country is allowed. But you vote with an aim to make sure that there is an accountability and the balance of forces will make sure that you realize your dreams. Not this corruption we are settled with. Like this afternoon, I just read when I was coming here online because couldn't watch the budget, there was load shedding. 250 billion rands is going to be given to ESCOM. Yet, these people have not yet established as to what is the cause of the load shedding. What if this cause of load shedding is part of a blackmail tactics to make sure that whatever money they want, they will strip these engines and say, yes, there is this. Today there's an excuse. The coal is wet. Tomorrow the coal is not quality. Somebody mix it with stones. The following day, the other day is sabotage. And then you just throw 250 billion rands, not knowing what is the problem. So must wake up. Of course, it has been exposed that ESCOM's corruption is amongst the things which has caused this load shedding. It was corruption for ANC government to have paraded their investment company to partner with Hitachi in building Medupi and Kusile plants. Right now, those plants are is giving us problems. ANC's investment arm, Chancellor House, doesn't have even a single engineer. On what basis were they given the business to build those plants? So now, badale khafun tenyofa, badale lumban, right? Kabile mna tata.
Thank you very much, General.
Anas liters, abaza no mabuyan.
Thank you very, very much for that, General. I'm now going to ask, and we're obviously going to try and speed up the remainder of the program. We're going to ask our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs and Research, Professor Mashudu Davana Maselesele, to please come and give us a short citation on the speaker who just spoke.
Molweni. Ninjani? Nami ndiphilile. Nimadekwana. Hey, I'm speaking tongues. Program Director, thank you. I think it's proper for us to know who was talking to us. Because when he spoke, he said he has been a dropout of UNITRA WSU. So you shouldn't go away with that information only. We need to also introduce the person so that you know who was talking to you. To the Vice Chancellor, to the Chancellor of Walter Sisulu University, Dr. Sheila Sisulu, who is online, the Chairperson of Council, Advocate Ngukai Tobi, other members of Council, Executive Management, to our Archbishop Thabo Makgoba and family, the trustees involved, our guest speaker, Honorable Bantu Holomisa, the Anglican fraternity and all churches present, special guests in attendance, students, staff, and other special guests who are here, and those watching virtually. It's an honor for me to talk about the speaker who is well known to us, the son of the soil, the game changer, Honorable Bantu Holomisa, Major General. I don't know, even when you have retired, you still remain with the title. Bantu Bonke Holomisa co-founded the United Democratic Movement on the 27th of September, 1997, and is currently the president. I heard some saying, come back home. I don't know which home, whether this current one is not correct. That's food for thought. He is a current member of parliament, of course representing UDM, which in 2017, they celebrated the 20th year of existence. I think this deserves a round of applause. I think he is indeed a game changer. You will understand as we continue. He was the commander of the Transkei Defense Force and head of Transkei government, the former independent homeland from 1987 to 1994, and up to the national elections that took place in South Africa in 1994. He was one of the first 2 black persons accepted by the South African Army College to do a 1-year senior staff course for officers in 1984, and that must tell you a story that indeed is a game changer for him to even get that opportunity during those times. Between 1988 and 1989, he led the government and unbanned about 33 organizations that were banned by his predecessors. His government worked closely with the liberation movements, and as a result, Transkei had a smooth transition prior to the 1994 elections. Honorable Holomisa also led the Transkei delegation to the Convention for a Democratic South Africa. You remember CODESA negotiations. He was one of those. The African National Congress, as you know, he was part of the election committee, and he was involved in the election campaign countrywide with the likes of the previous president, Thabo Makgoba, and also the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as the list, our late former president, Nelson Mandela, and the list, you can name them. Now, in 1996, our Honorable Bantu Holomisa was expelled from the ANC after after testifying at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission about issues and activities that were concerning Transkei. He was requested to retract his testimony, and he argued and said that was part of his historical knowledge. And with that, he was unfortunately, because he refused, he was expelled. During those years, he also was a head of Transkei government, and he also led in issues of environmental changes that took place in the community cleanup on Independence Day, that was on the 26th of October every year, and they would go green with green battalions, and they had established projects to combat soil erosion, river silting, and removing alien vegetation from riverbeds and dams. I'm sure the agricultural team will be excited to hear what he contributed. Honorable Holomisa also served as a Deputy Minister of Environment and Tourism in South Africa in the Government of National Unity. I'm sure you understand why I'm saying continually he's been a game changer, despite that he was a dropout. I'm saying this so that you also understand as students that there's always a future as long as you are focused and you know what you're looking for. He also initiated consultative processes with the National Environmental Policy, they call it CONEP, that resulted in the new environmental legislation of South Africa, and amongst others, the talks related to pollution, waste, and sustainable resource management, global and international cooperation, and all other responsibilities. He contributed to that. He also spearheaded many other projects, such as, this one I'm interested, the cessation of culling of elephants in the Kruger National Park. You know why? Because it's next to my home and that park, and that's why we have so many elephants there. It's because of your efforts. With the assistance of the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and a herd of about 35 animals were transferred to the Edo Elephant National Park, and they are still flourishing up till today. Honorable Holomisa has played a leading role in the establishment of Champions. This is an autonomous, apolitical group that was formed to meet urgent needs for a coordinated campaign to heighten national awareness of environmental conservation issues and also best practices that would benefit South Africa. Some of the projects that the Champions did were just recently, during COVID in 2020, he facilitated the donation of PPEs to the tune of 700,000 around 32 Eastern Cape hospitals and care facilities. Yes. With the Nyandeni, Kwakonjwayo, Eastern Cape Land Rehabilitation Projects, Champions also partnered with the Department of Environmental Affairs to create 143 jobs and opportunities for at least a period of 16 months for rural women and youth to develop long-term skills in the area which falls under Chief Mpumalanga Gwadiso. So, as I said, he's always a game changer. Together with the University of Pretoria, Gordon's Institute of Business Science, Champions hosted a carbon tax workshop for chief executive officers and other decision makers in South Africa and proposed the carbon tax and also economic response to carbon emissions. So when we complain about the tax related to diesel and all those, you should know where it came from. The Njokweni Palace project, in partnership with the Department of Environmental Affairs, Tourism World, the Usutu Traditional Council, and the Zulu Royal House, were some of the 34,000 trees endemic in the KwaZulu-Natal that were planted during the traditional reed dance. That was part of the projects that Champions did. Champions' first project actually was launched. Now this will challenge my Champions of the Environment, thank you. My challenge now is my Xhosa. It was first launched at the Ngungu administrative area in the Eastern Cape, where 3,000 indigenous trees were planted on 4 sites, which also yielded excellent results with 120 permanent jobs created and sustainable boreholes that were dug. Honorable Holomisa was also appointed to President Cyril Ramaphosa's inaugural Presidential Climate Change Coordinating Commission with effect from 17th of December 2020. And through his annual charity golf day that he calls annual Bantu Holomisa Charity Golf Day, he assisted several churches, including the parishes in the Anglican Church of the Upper and Lower Ngungu. I hope I've pronounced it well. Honorable Holomisa personally donated to the Anglican Cathedral in Mthatha, as well as the Anglican Youth Guild. Also has addressed many international forums, including the United Nations Security Council, on need to monitor violence in South Africa, the Confederation of British Industry, the Carnegie Endowment in USA, the Council and Foreign Relations in the US, Center for International Security Studies, the African American Institute, Prayer Breakfast, World Tourism Organization, World Travel and Tourism Council Convention on Biodiversity, all in the US. In 2000, he also attended a Democratic Convention in Los Angeles, US. He led a delegation of UDM MPs to Beijing, China, upon invitation of the Chinese government. The Independent Electoral Commission asked him to be a monitor in 2007 in the East Timor elections. In 2007, he also participated in a conference on democratization of sub-Saharan Africa, what progress towards institutionalization that in Ghana, and he attended the Second World Renewable Energies Assembly in Germany. He was part of the 2017 delegation to Germany per invitation of the Hans Seidel Stiftung to observe the Badestang elections. In 2018, Mr. Holomisa joined the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence on a benchmarking trip to Denmark and Sweden. He also had mediated in conflict between Methodists in Southern Africa and the United Methodists of Southern Africa. He played a mediating role in solving taxi conflict in the Transkei and Cape Town. In 2021, South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU, General Secretary Mr. Zwalinzi Mavavi and Honorable Bantu Holomisa successfully brokered a peace accord between the Congress for Taxi Association, CODETA, and the Cape Amalgamated Taxi Association, CATA, after the conflict that saw 24 deaths and 29 injuries. Fearless, game changer. He is regularly invited to address businesses, academia, and civil society. He has served as a deputy chairperson of the National Defense Force Service Commission for 9 years. Also serves currently on the defense as well as on the environmental, forestry, and fisheries portfolio committees on the National Assembly. He has played a leading role in promoting the ethics of good governance and has exposed alleged corruption, as you heard when he was talking, with the government employee pensions funds, investment in the Public Investment Corporation. He consistently called on the President, Ramaphosa, to act. In the end, it led to the institution of the Commission of Inquiry into the allegations for impropriety regarding Public Investment Corporation, the Mpati Commission. It has been an honor, his honor, for him to be asked by the families of the former President Nelson Mandela and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu to also serve on the preparatory committees for funerals. In 2017, an author and political journalist, Eric Naki, penned Bantu Holomisa as the game changer, an authorized biography which gives details on the frank account of his life. He is also an athlete who plays rugby, soccer, tennis, and was also a vice captain of parliamentary rugby squad in 1994 and 1996. I'm happy that you are patient with me because this is a very long CV from a person who says, I'm a dropout. Honorable Holomisa also keeps fit by participating in all those sports that I've indicated. I don't know whether he will gain fame now, because as I look around, I see it's other, they are Chiefs, and they are also Kaizer Chiefs and also Pirates. So he is a sports fan, and he is a Kaizer Chiefs. War unto the Buccaneers. And he also has attended all Rugby World Cup final matches since 1995, with the latest in 2019 in Japan, where he witnessed Springbok captain Siya Kolisi and his team hold the Webb Ellis Trophy high. He is married, and we have witnessed one of her family members, his daughter. I think I need to say I am honored to really read such a rich CV of a person who is a dropout. I will request Honorable Bantu Holomisa to come and receive from us. And as you were talking about corruption, there's nothing to declare here. This is a gift from the Vice Chancellor, appreciating your availability. Anytime we have a function, we invite him, he always comes.
No, there's no dollar here.
Thank you very much for that, Prof. And also thank you for confirming that there was nothing in the bag. I think we just also want to mention the name of the person who gave you that question for your prediction. I think it was Mr. Peñana, so thank you for that question. We have just, I think, 2 or 3 more items left on our program. I think the next one is the announcement of winners for an essay that is linked to this lecture. So this is the third one. As we said, it was an annual lecture where students would obviously have to write essays about value-based leadership. So there's a process that is followed, there's adjudication that happens in the background, and this is an opportunity to also acknowledge the winners. So we're going to ask Dr. Masha to come up and then obviously announce the winners and then give them their prizes. The prizes will be in the form of a handshake, I must say, because the real prize cannot be distributed here because General is here and then he's anti-corruption, so we can't have money moving around. So Dr. Masha, over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Due to time restrictions, I've been told to make this very short, so I'll skip the protocol by saying all protocol observed. I am here to announce the winners of the 2022, that is last year's Archbishop Thabo Makgoba Development Trust's essay writing competition. It's been running for 3 years, and there's a sum of 10,000 rand given to 3 students who enter the competition. Most students enter, but it boils down to 3 winners, number 3, 2, and 1. And number 1 usually walks away with 5,000, number 2, 3,000, and number 3, 3,000. So we receive essays through the MCA office on a particular email, and then the essays are blindly distributed to adjudicators, namely Dr. Stanford Matenda, Dr. Masha, myself, and Mrs. Klish, based in the Kobani campus, and Caroline Diakopu, based in Butterworth campus, and Dr. Lukman. And we also had Dr. Kinsey Banda, who could not assist us last year. So they blindly review the essays, get a rubric, and they're marked, and they must have a turn it in report of less than 15%. And I think that's where some of the winners don't score much because they don't subject their essays into turn it in, which is the plagiarism index. So after that, 3 winners are chosen based on the percentage that they received. At this juncture, I have the honor to announce our winners for last year's competition. I will start with number 3, who actually, let me just say, last year the percentage was very high, and the topic revolved around the theme of today, which is economic development of women and value-based leadership. Previously, the topic revolved around value-based leadership and the role of women in local economic development. And the winners were taken through a workshop by myself and Dr. Matenda for 3 days here at the DLT. And the winners of 2021 actually came up with a journal article that has just been sent for publication. May I also say that some of those winners have excelled very well. We have one of them who won a continental essay based in the Butterworth campus, Sibabalwe. We have 2021's winner, one of them who won the Eb Bailey Traveling Bursary. Is she here? Alungedo Zekali, where are you? Stand up, please. That young lady has just come back from England, where she did a 3-week tour. Alungedo, please come forward, actually, stand here, because I want to encourage other youth to enter these competitions. She's just come back from England on the Eb Bailey Traveling Scholarship. She was the overall winner of WSU. It's a pity Babale was not here, but she won the Continental Essay Writing Competition. These are our young future leaders. Please clap for her. Just face the VC there and the rest to showcase yourself. Alu is on her way to doing a PhD in public administration at the UKZN. All right, thank you. Go and sit down now. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to announce our winners today? And I will call them in front here so that they can be acknowledged. I will tell you their names and surnames and also their marks that they have received. Number 3, with 77%, a very high mark, Yandiswa, France. Come forward. Make your way forward here, please. Could Mrs. Matabo Hendricks assist us in this? Where is she? Not here. Okay, please make your way forward. Come to my left. Number 2, there's a thin line, very thin difference between number 2 and number 1. Very thin. And both of them entered theirs through the Turn-It-In. Siposetu Mase. Siposetu Mase, 87%. And number 1, who becomes tonight's winner with 89%. Sino Masi Batela. May I inform you, ladies and gentlemen, that they were all independently marked, unanimously, no name, no student number was displayed. I was surprised myself when I got these results and matched them with their student numbers. They are from Komani campus. Could it be a coincidence? I don't know. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Hendricks, could you please guide us? They can sit down, or we can take pictures with the general, or later on? They will later on, okay. They've been looking forward to this. So you'll be surrounded by a bevy of beautiful ladies over here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Marsha. Can we have another round of applause for the... I just want to maybe explain, some people might be wondering why we're having a 2022 event in 2023. The financial year ends, I'm an accountant, so bear with me. The financial year ends on the 28th of February. So we are still in the relevant financial year. So we are not in the next year. With that said, can we please have the Mthatha campus SRC Premier, Annalisa Silangwe, to please just come and give us a brief word before we close the, the public lecture. Annalisa, please make your way down. Must we sing for you, Lisa, while you're coming down?
Greetings, everyone. In the interest of time, I'll be brief and short. With all protocol observed, let me just submarine in that manner. I'll not call out the names. My name is Annalisa Silangwe, the campus SRC Premier of Mthatha campus in particular. Mine is short and brief. I'll just appreciate the initiative taken to Okay. I'd like to thank the initiative taken from this project to allow students to explore so many opportunities such that they have managed to go out to places outside of the country. And this is what is needed in the institution to say that there is a lot of talent and creativity from the students, but all they need is the exposure. And I'm grateful and pleased to be part of the success that is accompanied by the changes that are current and ongoing in our institution. Our institution hasn't been perfect, but we're in the right direction because of the collaboration between the involved stakeholders. What I'd like to put emphasis on is the proposal of ideas to assist going forward, and also acknowledgement of the success and also the improvements that are current and ongoing. What I'd also like to emphasize is that let us please be patient with the processes as we are moving in the direction of change. Change may be sometimes uncomfortable, but it yields great results. I'd also like to thank the audience here for taking their precious time to attend such gatherings, whereby it's platforms that allow us to meet and for network purposes so that we may be able to go forward. And also I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the General, Mr. Bantu Holomisa, for the ceaseless dedication in ensuring that our people are getting what we seek, the service provision, and also bettering the people's lives, because it's their aspirations. And I'm grateful to have been part of this gathering. To the student populace at large, may we please bear with the processes as we are in a process of ensuring that at least everyone is well taken care of with regards to everything or the university processes. However, your needs are not overlooked at, they are being taken care of. A brief summary of our registration, if I may be allowed to outline that. We have had a bit of challenges, but we have managed to treat those challenges that we are able there and then to say that we have had so much to do with a bit of a little experience and limited time. But we have managed to register at least 80% of our students in this moment that we had, because beginning of our registration, we had glitches and some inconveniences somewhere, somehow. Now we're only left with students that are known to be special cases, which we are dealing with now currently. So all issues that were presented to us, they have been getting the most urgent attention. I'd also like to put emphasis and also acknowledge the 3 students that have represented the WUSU at large. I am proud and honored to have met you, and also I'd like to encourage everyone to ensure that they fly the WUSU flag high. WUSU is now a university of choice. It's what others have been. It is now what our previous students, or let me say alumni, have fought for. Now, let us please rejoice in those benefits. We are not yet there, but you are finally on the right track to the greener pastures. I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Colleagues, we are done with the program for today, but as usual, you need to close officially, and we are going to ask our campus rector from Tata campus, Professor Cishe, to please come and do the official vote of thanks so that we can be on our way home. I'm sure some of you need to explain why you are not home yet. Maybe you said you would be back by 7:30. Now you need to prove to them that you didn't take a detour to somewhere you're not supposed to go. So, Prof, we are waiting for you.
Thank you, Program Director. I'm not going to say all protocol observed. Walter Sisulu University Chancellor, Dr. Sheila Sisulu, who's with us and watching online, WSU Chairperson of Council, Advocate Tembeka Nkaitobi, and other members of Council, Executive Management, under the leadership of our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Nolundi Songa, the daughter of the soil, Kutsolo. Archbishop Thabo Makgoba and family, Anglican fraternity led by Bishop Ngombane of Mthatha Diocese, all churches present here. Special greetings to our guest speaker tonight, the Member of Parliament, Major General Bantu Holomisa. I've learned a new term today, the game changer. Special guests in attendance and those watching virtually, UDM members that are here, academics, staff, student leadership, and students, good evening. I greet you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen. Why am I making that special greeting? Archbishop Ngombane and your congregants, Dingumamncoche, Umandala, Tizalwa nomfundisi uKhuse. I'm making that specially today because it is a very, very important, thank you, very important day today for Christians, Ash Wednesday. And thank you for deciding to come here and celebrate with us today this memorial lecture of our Archbishop Thabo Makgoba. Mine is a very short one, is to thank everybody. Let me start by thanking you, Dlangamandla, for driving the program so well. At least now you understand everything. You are one of us. Let me start by thanking our Bishop Ngombane, who found himself having to open with a prayer. You know that the man of God doesn't have to prepare. Thank you very much for reminding us that God created heavens and earth, for reminding us that we are God's creation, and as God's creation, we should do everything that is good and that God would love. Our Vice Chancellor and Principal, for your warm welcome, welcoming us all, and also reminding us that women make a contribution in economic development, and women will continue doing so. To our special person, the Archbishop, we thank you for availing yourself online. Most importantly, we thank you for the Thabo Makgoba Development Trust, in which our WSU is benefiting. Well, Dr. Masha will speak to you outside this, because you are one of the adjudicators from Queenstown, and all the winners are from Queenstown. We'll take that one outside with Dr. Nguzamduba, who is here. Honorable Member of Parliament, Major General Holomisa, the game changer, we are happy to hear from you. We are also happy to hear that you were one of the WSU students, and our DVC kept on saying the dropout. You are not a dropout, because you are where you are now, because you started with us here. Your emphasis on the role that women of South Africa played in the apartheid era is appreciated. Your interaction with women like Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Mama Albertina Sisulu, to mention just a few. But you left us with a question, whether their counterparts, referring to ourselves today, can stand the test of time. We want to assure you that we will, because you are following their footsteps. We thank you for honoring the invitation and acknowledging the role that you played, especially in the fight for this university not to be closed at the time that Kade Asmal wanted to close it. I remember the meetings we used to attend at night, fighting for this university, and here we are now. We also appreciate the offer you have made to us as Walter Sisulu, that you are participating in quite a number of initiatives. From tomorrow, you will be getting calls, because we want to follow that offer and make sure that we benefit on those initiatives. You also mentioned that there's a need to establish equitable WSU partnership between men and women. With WSU, there is that equitable partnership. You know what? Our VC is a woman. Our DVC, Academic Affairs and Research, is a woman. I will not go to the deans, but I just want you to get that 3 campus rectors are women. Isn't that something we need to clap for? So the institution is changing. Professor DVC, I was laughing when you were trying isiXhosa, because I was expecting you to say kari, kari. But you tried isiXhosa, telling us about who our guest speaker is, our honorable member of Parliament. But I want to say, DVC, someone next to me was sleeping. And when I was asking her, why are you sleeping? She said, this DVC is reading an obituary. I will not attend a general's funeral, because I've already had the obituary. So there's a lady who said so. Something that is not mentioned in your obituary, General, is the role you played in trying to put the people of this town of Transkei in the right places. Wabethisa itishala ngamapolisa, wabethisa amapolisa ngamajoni. Wafika ngo-2013, those who were staff members here, sasitoyitoya VCC's staff members. It was a serious toy. There's only one person who stopped that toy. It was Major General Bantu Holomisa. You know how he did it? It was meeting your community. Sangena sinxiba izikipa zethu zontewu and others. Abanye ze-ANC wathi akukho mntu uzongena kule meeting enxibe i-political attire. Hey, saqonda uba hayi kuzawuba nzima ijoni lizawusibetha. Thank you for the role that you played to make this university where it is. For those who do not know, it's also something that was not mentioned. He contributed in the construction of PRD building. And if I may ask, except from him, as to what does PRD stand for, I will not get an answer, but let me leave it there. Francis is laughing because he knows why I'm saying that. Dr. Anthony Masha, the former student of this university, thank you for announcing the winners, and we're looking forward for the announcement of more winners before the end of this year. Not the financial end of the year accountant, the end of the university year. Premier, my little girl, Annalisa, thank you, but you took most of what I'm supposed to be doing here by thanking us all, and thank you for that. All the attendees here and online, we appreciate your attendance, and we have looked at the time, but you have stayed with us. Thank you very, very much for gracing the occasion. Finally, the people who always work behind the scene, we at times forget them because we do have this event, because of the work that was done behind the scenes. Mayor Tukwayo and your team, thank you. And the media personnel, and yeah, everybody else. Francis, thank you once more, and thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mam Ngoshe. And again, to those who joined us online, thanks for spending the past hour and a half to 2 hours with us. Please travel safe to wherever you're going and enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers. Sorry, General, before you go, General, the photos, please.